So her mother, her white mother, set her down and said, look, although we might have a certain way we look at things in our household, the macro world on the outside will see you as a black woman, and that's just how it is. This is a woman that comes from the oppressor class. This is a woman that comes from the dominant race. She's letting her own progeny understand that she will be viewed as an other.
I'm better than that. I have a white parent and a black parent also, and I've always hated the term biracial as well. It just didn't resonate with me. And now, you see this conversation happening more with Colin Kaepernick's series and so on, but that was really amazing when I heard you say that. It resonated with me. What are your thoughts when you hear that quote later?
I feel the exact same way. I mean, I think that that's not to say that I don't embrace my mother and
Oh, yeah.
everything that she's brought to my life, but it was my mother who let me know the world's going to see you as black, and that is...
Okay, so you heard what she just said. She said it was actually her mother that informed her that the world would see her as a black woman, her white mother. Paula Patton's mother is white. She's not from a black female, white male coupling. She's from a white female and a black male coupling. So her mother, her white mother, set her down and said, look, although we might have a certain way we look at things in our household, the macro world on the outside will see you as a black woman, and that's just how it is. This is a woman that comes from the oppressor class. This is a woman that comes from the dominant race. She's letting her own progeny understand that she will be viewed as an other. Let's jump back in.
Who you are, so don't have any question about that, and I'm very grateful for her, and I think we live in the politics of race in our country are such that when one wants to make it very clear that they're not black, that it's a way to keep them separate from black people, and we know we've had a long history in this country of that, of it not being popular to be black, to be honest with you, and so, yeah, I've always found that and to be inoffensive. I'm black and I embrace, that's my thing.
You heard what she said. She said she's black and she embraces it. Now, other people may see her as another, and that's your right. You can see Paula Patton however you choose to see her, but she sees herself as a black woman. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to include exoticals or mixed race women into the black race in the dating market, because a lot of people try to have this contentious point about biracials in the dating market, a lot of black women, I should say, and they want to be on even playing field with women who may be more desirable in looks than they are, because they're all trying to chase the same high echelon men, the top 10%, those high value men, those men with all the resources, those men that make over six figures and up. So they want to have a level playing field when it comes to being chose up on. And that's why we have all this contention and these big channels about colorism, featureism, and light-skinned exoticals should be not considered part of the black race. And I will say this, as a person that comes from a mixed background, I'm not a product of a biracial pairing myself, but my grandmother was, and so forth and so forth. So I do have mixed blood in my lineage, but I see myself as a black man and will always see myself as a black man because that's who I am. And so does Paula Patton. Paula Patton sees herself as a black woman, although she comes from a mixed background. And just because some people want to excerpt out of the black experience due to the fact you want to be able to choose certain men that you don't have access to because they like to choose up on light-skinned exoticals, what's your problem, man? You can't go around mistreating people or trying to push people out of somewhere because you want to date a certain type of guy. This is complete, utter nonsense. And we need to stop it, and we need to call it out for what it is. It's just some dark-skinned women attempt to level the playing field and have an advantage over light-complected women because they feel threatened by those women and their ability to attain certain men that they cannot. You have a problem with self-esteem, you have a problem with how you look and how others perceive you. Stop pushing that out on someone else. Let's jump back in. Bring the clip back.
That's why we've always appreciated you and supported you.
All right, I'm gonna stop before we go on to Thandie Newton. Let me finish up real quick with Paula Patton. Paula Patton sees herself as a black woman, and that's fine. I'm not gonna argue that point. I will say that we shouldn't create a separate class for biracials or mixed race people, but we should be honest and say that they do have an advantage because of the way they look. They have fairer skin, they have loose curled hair, and this gives them a more exotic look that many men, and not just black men, but men in general find attractive. Men find women with a lighter complexion, fairer skin, sometimes more attractive. Not saying that darker complected or brown skinned women aren't attractive, or not attractive, I should say, because there are plenty of dark skin, brown skin, caramel skin women who are very gorgeous, beautiful, and pretty. It's just that sometimes when we're looking at it from a dating aspect, the light complected exotical is a rarity. And if I'm being honest here, that's what it is. It's a rarity. So something that is rare is looked at as more valuable. It's not true, and I'm going to say that it's not true that they're more valuable, but on the dating market, they seem to have more of a advantage than those who don't look like them. And we do have to say that. Men, we do have to say that light complected, exotical looking women have more of an advantage than your typical phenotypical type black woman with Africanized features. Let's be honest. Let's not, try to say they're the better women, because they're not. There are a lot of light complected women who are on some BS and they some bullshit, because I've ran across a lot of them. So it's not that they're better women in character or better women to make wives. It's that you prefer their look. So we got to be honest with that and say that. And we also got to acknowledge that black women who have a phenotype that is traditionally Africanized sometimes are pushed to the side for these women. But that doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it wrong. It just means people have the right to choose their preference. Now, I want to say this about preference. Don't disguise, I should say, a preference as a means to hide your disdain and your animus towards a group of women because you think they're ratchet or ghetto. See, now I'm not going for that nonsense, because there are a lot of black women who are not ratchet and quote unquote ghetto. So you're not going to just lump dark-skinned women in that category because you like either white women or light complected exoticals. You're not going to do that, and I'm not going to let you do that. You can have a preference, but your preference is not going to be hid behind disdain and animus. Let's bring the clip back and jump into Thandie Newton. See what she got to say. All right, let's roll.
Wanted so desperately to apologise every day to darker skinned actresses, to say I'm sorry that I'm the one chosen. My mama looks like you.
Her mama looks like you. What the hell does that mean? So Thandie Newton comes from the coupling of a black female and a white male, and we're gonna see the contrasting differences of their ideology and the way they view the world. And I'm not saying her mother is a swirler, because I don't know anything about the woman's mother. Only thing I'm saying is there is a stark difference between the white mother raising her biracial child and the dark skinned black woman raising her biracial child. So let's listen to what she has to say. And I find it very interesting that there are two different conflicting opinions of the world view coming from these two different women. Let's bring the clip back. Let's jump in.
My mum looks like you, and it's been very painful to have women that look like my mum. Feel like I'm not representing them, that I'm taking from them, taking their men, taking their work.
Wait a minute, hold on, wait a minute. Flag on the play. Taking their men? What men are you taking? Because the last time I checked, you only date or marry white men. So what men are you taking from the dark-skinned African-American women? I'm trying to figure that one out, Thandie. I'm trying to figure out what men you're taking and what work. If you're talking about your work in Hollywood, I can see that. Yes, that's actually a truthful admission. You do take parts that should be designed for more darker complected women. But you're not taking nobody's man. Get out of here with that shit. You only dating married white men. Go on, girl. Nobody ain't buying that shit.
Taking their truth.
Wait a minute. Taking their truth. What is their truth? I don't even think she elaborates on that. She just says something like taking their truth, because I think she's just babbling and ranting. And I mean, I don't know what truth you're taking from them, but let's see if she explains it. Let's bring the clip back.
I didn't mean to.
All right, that was the end of the video. I want to take this time now to address something real quick. I want to look at Paula Patton and Thandie Newton. And you can clearly see that they both have two different views of the world because of the way each was raised and their environment that they came up in. Paula Patton had a white mother, Thandie Newton had a black mother, and Paula Patton's white mother informed her that the rest of the world, despite what we see you as in this house, are going to see you as a black woman. Whereas Thandie Newton's mom taught her to be an other and see herself different than the phenotypical people that she comes from. And I think when we examine why Paula Patton has her ideology and why Thandie Newton has her ideology, we have to go back to how they were reared. And clearly, Paula was reared different than Thandie, which is why they have two different perspectives on who they are in this world. Let me say this also about Thandie's so-called brave stance on taking her name back, or Thandie. You weren't so brave in the beginning of your career when they made that mistake. You ran with it, and you allowed them to call you something that you were not because you didn't want to get blacklisted in Hollywood or cause issues for potential roles. So it's easy in hindsight to say that you are brave now and you're taking the power of your name back. Well, where was that bravado of bravery in the beginning when they made the mistake at first? See, you can't go now from the past and feign bravery or that you are being some type of person that's standing in your truth at the latter end of your career. Because if you really wanted to punch up, you would have did that in the beginning of your career, rather letting these people call you something that you know you were not. So she's not brave. She's just in the latter part of her career, the roles kind of dried up, and she's able to take her real name back now. Well, we've seen this before. It's not brave in hindsight. So in closing, let me say this. I want to address the one drop rule. I was going to save it for another video, but I'll quickly say my position on the one drop rule. First and foremost, the one drop rule was not instituted by blacks. It was instituted by wealthy white slave owners to X out their biological progeny from generational wealth, rights, and privileges, especially land ownership. They wanted their illegitimate children that they had with their black female slaves to be X'd out of any rights and privileges that their white children had. So the one drop rule was basically a nose up to the progeny of the white slave owners' children. I mean, this was some heinous crap that they did. They wanted to X out their own children from generational wealth. So the one drop rule was instituted by saying if you have only one drop of Africanized blood in you, you're considered black. And they did this because it was a way to X out their progeny from generational wealth, land ownership, and rights, and to be recognized as an actual human being. Now, we have people now that want to reshape the one drop rule for modern times and put it in modern dating to X out exoticals, because some dark-skinned women, not all, want to have an even playing field when it comes to being able to access the top 10% or high value or the six-figure earning men in the dating market. And it's a disingenuous ploy to make biracial women in particular an other. So you'll have access in the dating market. This is all that this is about. So we have to be very careful when we're looking at people and the things that they're doing. And we have to also understand that a lot of people have ulterior motives for doing things, like all these YouTubers with these colorist channels and these featurist channels and this dark skin representation and things like that. It's just nothing more than a ploy to grab money and to be recognized as equals on the dating market with women who clearly look better than you. And that's all it's gonna be, and that's all that it's ever been. That's all I got, man. Don't forget, like the content, subscribe, hit the bell with all notifications on. I'm trying to grow the platform, and it really helped me out if you guys would subscribe. I want to get into the YouTube algorithm this year, and my goal right now is 1,000 subs by the end of, let's say March. By the end of March. All right? So, let's keep it funky, man. Get it cracking in the comments. And always remember that adults shouldn't have dreams but goals, because dreams can lie in the realm of fantasy, where goals can be attained through hard work, dedication, perseverance, and tangible evidence to show for your hustle. That's all I got tonight, man. I'll catch y'all in the credits. 2 fingers. Peace.